Hey Skyfares, and welcome to Aethercast, the Kharadron Overlords channel and podcast, where today we are chatting with Luke Morton from Wargamer Online about his recent results at, in a TTS event, re-released The Beast 2, the sequel, where you went 5-1, Luke. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us. And of course, my normal crew are here to help me interview Luke as well. We have our Thunder from Down Under, our Gunnery Sergeant Alexander Cron.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Cron. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
I'm going the same tournament, I guess. Not having as much luck as Luke though.
But with similar lists, which we might talk about a little bit later. And of course, we have our avatar of Gromrindle, Dwarden Max. Max Boom. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Good to be back. We're back online.
Max, you have something to celebrate.
Yes, new Fire Slayer book.
Oh, that wasn't what I meant. Max is now a dad, everyone.
Yes, I'm officially
he has a
dad
little
hammering.
beardling.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Congrats.
So, hobbies. Thank you. Hobby's been a bit rare, but we're hanging in there, and
Have you booked his place in the Arcanaut Academies yet?
it was the mustering.
Yeah, the muster press.
I know what you're going through. I've got 3, but they're older now, 16, 14, and 10. So.
Oh wow, yeah, no.
We've got past the half.
This one's just a month, so.
Do they play Luke, or do they think you're just like the weird dad that plays games?
Luckily, they don't play, so I save a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so. Cool. So before we chat about the news and sort of talk about Luke's tournament and that, Luke, tell us a little bit about yourself, and Wargamer Online as well.
Just go through like the hobby side of everything.
Whatever you want to say. Like how long you've been playing Warhammer? Like how long have you been playing KO? Or...
So I only really started playing Fantasy when I got a bit older. So I was around 24, and I played Warhammer Fantasy at a time at 8th edition. A lot of my friends were playing tournaments, so they kind of got me into the tournament scene, and ever since that, I did loads of tournaments in 8th edition. And then I stopped for about 5 years, and then I come back to Age of Sigmar in 2019, and I played a lot of Idenef Deepkin in AOS 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met a good friend of mine who started the channel, the Wargamer Online channel. With two good friends, Sam and Phil. Sam's ended up stopped doing it, so then I jumped in to try and help in the background. I'm not really on the show that much at the moment, but we have got a studio up north now where we'll do battle reports where I live, because Phil lives in Leamington Spa and I live up north near Sheffield. So yeah, you'll see some battle reports from me at some point. But army-wise, I've never really had a dedicated army. I try to play every army, especially with the channel and stuff. I try to play every army if I can. But recently, I started playing the KO.
That's good just to have variety, really. Get a feel of everything.
Yeah, it helps you on a competitive side of things because. There's so many rules to learn, isn't there? So it does help you if you want to do tournaments competitively.
I mean, 100%. You need to know what your enemy's doing, really. That's, you know what they're doing. You can play around it.
I have been painting some KO. So here's an Ironclads. I don't know if you can see it very well, but
nice.
If I can,
you're doing
do that, then people can see.
It's that's with a Series D brush that Artist Opus do. So it starts off at purple and then it goes up. I'll send you. But yeah.
Are you doing any specific theme, or is that like a custom Skyport? Just
it It was more just I've not painted for a while, so I just got the brushes out and I have a mess about. I'll not do a whole army. I've already got we've already got a KO army that Sam built and converted. It was all out of like Necromunda gang, so it's like a human sky fleet.
Okay,
Nice.
that's kind of cool.
So like the wardens are all like
Got me full screen again.
well, you can't really see it, but yeah, there you go. They're just like
see.
Necromunda gangs with all the KO bits stuck to them.
Nice. There's a lot of cool 40k bits that can be used nicely for KO.
Yeah, yeah. It's I've always liked the army, the look of the army. It's a lot more challenging to play now in Age of Sigmar 3 with all the changes. It was very, very powerful in Age of Sigmar 2. It's less so
yeah. So what made you choose KO for this particular event? Was it?
So I saw the Sky Wardens went down in cost, and I thought, let's make it 2016 when you had the clown car?
Well, it would have been 2017 because I think that's when the army come out. But yeah,
with that, I always wanted to try and play that in the background. I never really got into Age of Sigmar at that point, but I thought I'll try it out. It fits my play style as well because with the competitive play, I used to play Deepkin, but lots of MSU ills. Mm-hmm. So that's the same kind of thing, fly in fast, lots of small units.
Cool.
So,
we're almost segueing into your list there a bit. So I think before we move on to that, we should just quickly get the news out of the way as quickly as we can because we can't go fully into the news as much as Max would like us to because Max loves his fire slayers. But I don't know how much you guys have seen. Have you seen the books, Luke, or seen any of the reviews or anything?
I have. I will do a review on it. We've not released ours today, but they look different. Have you any today?
Yeah. So I mean, Max, you seem to be a little bit relieved when we're discussing it.
Yeah, they're not as shit as I thought when I saw the first rules after the Fury of the Deep release.
Yeah.
They're certainly better than they were anyway, I think.
They are overall on average, they're better, I think. Magma Drops are better now. But I'll have to test it out. But luckily I have everything I need. I just take the models out of the cupboard and try. Maybe test around. I think you need to see it on the table to really understand if it works, how it's meant to work, and if it's powerful enough, if you want to compete with it.
The question will probably come, but I very much doubt you'll want to put them in Barak Thryng, sadly, because it's all internal buffs kind of thing.
Yeah, even the Magma Duff, which is better, is just very good in Fire Slayers, because it doesn't get the mount trait, it doesn't get the artifacts, it doesn't get the command trait. That makes it really good. Or better. Not really, really good. I mean, it's not a unit of 4 Stormlake Guard, but it's better than...
It's not Archeon.
It's not an Archeon, no, but it is, what is it, 360 points for the Room Favor, something like that, 380. And he can do stuff now. Like, it's a good monster.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, probably not an ally pick for KO or Coalition then.
No, maybe there's... No, not even the Grimwrath, because he lost his oaths are not on his war scroll anymore. They're in the allegiance ability, so he doesn't get those if you bring him along. Not sure if... I mean, Hearthguard Berserkers are still better than any melee KO has. So tunneling a unit of 10, maybe... But it takes away some points.
You don't need coalition units to make Thryng. Thryng has other things that make it good.
Let's reroll once.
And then there's always the benchmark is always, is it better than 2 dragons? And not much is currently.
You just gotta remember that you got those reroll ones. That's the hard part.
Yeah, like remember to reroll your ones, and you actually kill Fulminators.
Yeah, I can't say anything because I was forgetting my reroll ones to wounds the other day. So, and Deakin seemed to have gotten better as well. Probably on average, they're kind of like two different ways of playing now, by the looks of it.
Eels and thralls.
Yeah,
I don't think they are better, but
okay. Well, you know better than us. Well, definitely better than me anyway. I don't know about these guys, but I've not played Idoneth, so
as we go into the list with KO, rerolls is king, and I think that's the only. We'll go into the list, but it's the same kind of thing with Deacon. I think it obviously needs games, but
did they lose a lot of the rerolls they had because they used to have a lot of rerolls?
They've rerolled everything, every turn, every phase. The monster from him, this from the king, because I'm charging, because it's
one to wounds,
turn, it's this tide, because it's Monday, I'm gonna reroll this. You know, everything.
They still are still getting their like everyone fights first on turn 3 and run and charge.
Yeah, I mean, run and shoot and charge, and
they've not lost that, luckily.
I mean,
they lost the Cloud of Midnight, which is a bit annoying.
Oh.
They lost that, but then they gained that. They still get the thing where you can Forgotten Nightmares, and now they have this thing where they can just say, "Oh, you can't shoot me if you're not within 12 as well."
Oh.
Only in the first battle round, but
like Kruelboyz
in low tide,
yeah. So
which is not too bad because we can teleport within 9, but outside of 9.
Yeah,
but,
you kill the
defense against sentinels.
You kill the screen, and then you're still not within 12 inches of anything else. So it's like potentially, it's like a bit rubbish. And all the heroes got like the foot heroes all got a 5+ ward, which is
good in the current meta because why would you take little heroes in this environment? The same with Fire Slayers. My fear was we lost the bodyguard rule; they're just gonna die and the army falls apart. But luckily, some have a retinue, some have ward saves. So there's some play there. Yep.
Cool. One other bit of news. There is a rumor going around about a white dwarf thing for KO.
I have heard that too from someone in our chat.
Yes, that was me.
Well, okay.
And I
someone
heard
in
it from
another chat.
Okay. Well, that's good because I heard it from someone very close to where it comes from, and I believe it's very reliable. And he said it's very, very good. I don't know how good he knows or how well he knows Kharadron to judge this, but I'm excited.
That next month is KO
Harlequin.
month.
No, next is Harlequin for 40k. Although they just got a book, so nothing that's eligible for AOS Worlds, sadly. But for everyone else, be excited.
Okay.
That'd be pretty cool.
So we don't know when, but hopefully sometime soon.
Soonish. I think the next 2-3 months. Yeah.
Okay. One last thing before we move on. Aethercast dice currently on pre-order because people kept badgering me to get more. So yeah, if you want to get some Aethercast dice, then head over to Ko-Fi. There's a link in the video description. Or, well, wait until after the show and then head over to Ko-Fi. The cool dice.
Question is, are we expecting to see these by the time we get to Worlds?
Well, when do you need to go to Worlds? Because you get your dice around about May-ish time.
Middle of May, end of May. Look, if we need to, I could just fly over, just hop over for a second there. If I'm up there already, that's that part of the world.
I mean,
the other question is, if you're all at Worlds, are you going to mess up my distribution network? Because you are my distribution network.
Oh yeah.
So you're going to mess that up.
I'm not going to be in Australia in May.
Yeah. So people probably won't get your dice in May. We'll just change that to June. There we go. June.
Here at Aethercast, we are professionals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So enough like shameless self-promotion. Let's talk about the actual subject matter for the show. So Luke, this is your list for the tournament. Not the one that you were playing just now on TTS, but the
yes, this is the meme list that a lot of the organisers they all took funny they thought wasn't very powerful. But after I played this list,
Mhm.
I started to think there was actually something in KO. I just took this thinking I'll just spam Skywardens and see what happens. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
as
mean,
much as
after
it
after
doesn't
the
look
points
very
drop,
good, but it's a lot better than it is.
it's
it
kind of like, yeah.
So the interesting thing is that Alex in our Aethercast chat posted a very, very similar list like a month ago.
Yeah.
But I think you said you tried it out and it was not working out well.
It
That's
was
interesting.
doing it got the DPS against Gargants, which I found really important. But then my meta's at the moment is just filled with dragons, and I tried it a few times against like pure dragons that just come in and kill everything. And
Wow.
no matter how far, what user screens.
We'll talk about
just
dragons
be-
in a minute.
You probably got sent this list because my best friend, who's also part of the channel, Fabian, is on your team and probably told you to use this list because it beats dragons, which I do think it does beat dragons. But it,
I mean, after the points drop, this is like the kind of sort of thing everyone was like, wow, how many Skywardens can I pick
Like,
up?
how many drill cannons can I get?
Yeah.
Drill cannons spam was really cool.
I think that first of all, we should probably say what the list is because this will go out as a podcast for people later that can't read, so they can't see the screen. So Barak Thryng, 2,000 points on the nose, Hunters of the Heartlands, Command Entourage, typo, Battle Regiment. So Endmaster with Dirigible Suit as the general was supremely stubborn because you have to have it, and Grudge Hammer because you have to have that, and it makes sense to put it on a good melee hero. 2 Navigators, 1 with Flare Pistol and a Chemist. A unit of 9 Wardens, a unit of 6 Wardens, and then 5 units of 3, all of which have drill cannons and volley guns, and then an Ironclad with the Sky Cannon, last word. And the units that are in Hunters of the Heartland are the unit of 9 and 6 Sky Wardens. So, lots of drill cannons, basically. I mean, is there anything about this that is more nuanced than that, Luke, or that you found you weren't quite literally just playing, let's see how many 6s you can get? Like, how did it play on the table?
the fight on death won me a lot of my games.
Okay.
And you can just block your opponent off from all your key pieces. And there's not much they can do about it because you shut down their main piece with the Navigators.
Mm-hmm.
And then the units of 3 you'll happily throw in the middle, like to stop people landing and stuff. And then you can constantly move further away, outrange them, and just keep wearing them down.
Mm-hmm.
I did do a lot of combat though with this army, a lot of combat. Then more than you would with KO anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there's a surprising amount of sky pikes there as well. So, yeah.
It's just the champion's got 3 attacks, and even when you use a unit of 3 as a screen, they go and kill your screen. There's a chance that you just do 9 damage to them, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, champions fighting on death because you always kill the sky pikes first, right? And then they just put in a couple wounds extra into whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially if you roll the 4 up. It's not reliable, but it does put it in their head. I've got to commit to kill a unit of 3 Skywardens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, we mentioned that Kron had a similar list of this. Now, one of the things that was different about it was the inclusion of Hunters of the Heartland. How useful do you reckon that was?
I would, if I use this list again, they would all be 3s.
Okay.
All the Skywardens would be 3s if I use this list again. I just thought being 6 drops might give me the jump on Soul Blight or something like that. But although literally 85% of the lists that they were there all 1 drop.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that is a lot of what we've been seeing in other events. It's kind of like 1 drops, maybe some
or
2
12.
drops, but it's like 1 drops, 2 drops, 3 drops, whatever.
I think
6 drops, and then or higher.
GT I'm going to is going to have like 50% of all players there have 1-drop lists. So it's really just you're 1-drop or you're a million. Like, there's no in between ground there.
Yeah.
I only say the list at the end is 6 drops for a reason. Because some armies, because you will go into Alpha Beast, but some armies that as soon as you play that are 7 drops, you just win turn 1. That's the only reason why it's 6 drops. Otherwise, I'd just go loads of drops in that as well. But we can go into that when we go into that list later.
When we get to that. Okay. Cool. So, Kron, you mentioned dragons. So let's talk about some dragons, because you foreshadowed that nicely. Because your first game in the tournament was against this
11 dragons, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Which was a 1-drop as well.
I was crying when it got paired because the way that they did this, they rated you give you a general score. So if you'd been 5-0 at a tournament, you'd be up at the top. But then they rate your list. So my list got rated like 2.5 out of 5. But my general score was max. So it paired me into this guy with a powerful list and a decent general score. So so you were more reliably going to get a bad matchup, basically.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's interesting. I've not seen tournaments doing that. It does kind of make sense to do like a sort of seeding sort of thing.
All the best players, well, in theory, played each other round 1.
Okay. So, I mean, what happened in this game? Did it sort of wipe you off? Well, I mean, first of all, spoiler alert, we know you won the game. So, obviously, it didn't wipe you off the board. But
it kind of did. Turn 1, I deployed kind of a bit wrong. I put all my 5s in like screening off, and then my 6s and my 9s behind, and an Ironclad in the corner, just to measure this 36. Because I could out deploy him, but I didn't deploy very well. So to turn 1, he just literally dropped all his dragons down, and moved everything up and killed 21 Skywardens in his first turn. He killed 8. He killed 7 from the 9 block, and then all my 5s died to shooting and combat. All my 3s, sorry, all my units of 3.
So that left you with your 6 and the heroes and the Ironclad.
The 9 was down to a 2.
Oh yeah.
So, but look, in my turn 1, I rapidly saw how much of a good matchup it is for you. If as long as you roll the 3 pluses on the navigators, this matchup is very, very good for the KO. So I just basically navigated the 4 block the whole game, so it didn't do anything. It already used a double move, and then I just danced around with the Ironclad and killed. I killed 4 dragons in my turn 1 because I rallied all my drill cannons back and some volley cannons from the 9 block.
Nice.
I got 3 lads back, which is obviously lucky. Should get at least 1, but I got 3. And then the general as well does quite a lot of damage. He killed 2 dragons on his own.
Nice.
Okay.
Just because knowing that he's basically going to fight twice, if you're going to throw him away, get rid of the battle tactic for them. Just suicide him in. He goes in, does all his shooting, fights, and then fights again when he dies. He killed 2 dragons that turn. I did that. And then he just charged a Nitroconus into the Ironclad, which obviously was a mistake by him. He instantly died to the last word and the shooting. Because you get more shots than you do when it's your own turn. Especially with Barak Thryng, you are obviously rerolling 1s to hit against 3 of these targets, which I put on 2 Drakes and his hero because I knew I could just pin down the 4 block and whittle them down. So I tabled the list by turn 3. He didn't have anything left.
Wow. Okay.
And I didn't lose anything after I'd lost all my casualties turn 1, apart from losing the general when I suicided him to go in and kill some dragons.
I'm going to try that against my local guy sometime.
So
try this. And the sad thing is I have enough balloons to play this list.
Yeah.
But the Ironclad does the most lifting, as I found through the tournament.
Yeah.
That's why.
So I
eventually-
assume you use the exploding sixes on the Ironclad then.
I didn't use it in that game. I forgot I had it.
Because it's a once per game ability. That's what happens with once per game abilities.
So I didn't need it because I was killing the units I needed to kill. So I didn't actually even need it. The only time I think this matchup becomes very bad is as soon as they put a Relictor in. You probably are in a bad situation because then they can teleport, then move into hero phase and get rid of your Unleash Hell. So it's the 10 dragon list with a Relictor is obviously a very bad matchup, but 11 dragons is fine for the KO.
So I have a question. You mentioned about suiciding in your general. What turn did you do that in?
Turn 3.
Okay. So a bit later on, because obviously if you do it, you don't get so many command points once you lose your general. So if you do it too early, it's potentially a little bit risky. It depends how many command points you're using and stuff. But
yeah, the issue that I also had with the 9 block where I said I would change them to 3s is because you always just spend the CP on the Ironclad. Only time I had to spend it on the 9 block is when we'll go into it later, but I did lose the Ironclad once only, and it was in the last game.
Yeah. Okay.
I think CPs is fine normally.
Yeah.
I found that this guy went a lot of people went first, but the issue with going first against KO is if you double early, I just don't think you can lose. Unless it's obviously something that can survive all that damage. There's not many things out there that can survive. Because you're so good at in that list with the Sky Wardens, you can just switch targets in straight away. So as soon as it's done all that defense, you just shoot something else.
Yeah.
Or your range. You can keep all your stuff in range.
Yeah, you don't really waste many shots as well. Like once you kill something and you move on to shooting something else, you're not wasting half quite a lot of points worth of shooting either.
Yeah, you just go. The 3s are going to shoot. You want all that defense. You end up going through all your Sky Wardens, and then they've not done it. Unless it's obviously it's an obvious target, then they'll spend it. But then you change targets.
Yeah. Okay.
That was game 1. That was okay. I thought it was going very, very badly after turn 1, but if I deployed a lot better, it would have been a lot. I think the game would have been pretty much done by turn 2.
Yeah. Do you think getting the extra points for killing monsters really helped in this game as well, in terms of keeping up with the score and stuff?
In 20-0, yes, because this tournament was a pure 20-0 differential, but you basically had to get a full 2 points to get 1 point. You couldn't just get one difference for a point.
Yeah.
So obviously it did help me. On that.
Okay. Because it's something I've noticed I've tried allying in the dragons, and they kind of do. You're going to lose them eventually.
Yeah.
I do anyway because I'm not very good, and then you give away points, and potentially because there's 2 of them. If you lose one in one round and then one in another round, you're giving away 2 points, and then there is some swings and roundabouts with monsters.
I think with the monsters, if you've got powerful monsters, it's obviously best that because it does just let you do monstrous some missions like the Vice and stuff. Being able to do monstrous takeover is just so useful. That's what we do struggle on the Vice. I just played it. We'll go through that at the end, but it is a struggle. You have to kind of with KO on that mission. You've just got to go for kill a battle line or something, or just do the run. But then you waste all your shooting for a turn. So.
Yeah, unless it's something unless you've got something built into the list that can do the run 3 units of Arcanauts or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right, let's move on to the next game, which was against Kruelboyz. So it's big yellows, and yeah.
Well, no, it's pattern. So that was 1 drop. The Storm Drakes, as you can see on the screen. There's another 1 drop.
Yeah. So, I mean, 2 9-man units of Bolt Boys, 3 units of Gut Rippers for Battle Line, and 2 Shamans and the Sludge Breaker Beast guy, and a Killbow with Soul Screen Bridge, and it's, all in Battle Regiment would be one drop. So, I mean, how did you feel about this one? Because obviously you weren't too happy about being matched up against dragons, but it was turned out to be okay. How did you feel about Kruelboyz?
So, with TTS, these tournaments are over 6 weeks. So you kind of get a few days to look at somebody's list and see the tricks. So this one, big yellows, if he rolls the 4+, it's bad for me because I can't see him to shoot him. And then he's got that trick as well. You know, you can basically redeploy a unit and then it can move and shoot me. So there's nothing I could do, especially if he got a bridge off. Is I could a lot of the missions you can stop your Ironclad from dying from an alpha. But if he rolled well, I couldn't stop that from happening. So I didn't think it was a great matchup unless he gave me the first turn, and he gave me the first turn. So I killed 60% of his army. So this game, it wasn't really a game. I then won the roll, and then we called it there. But I think if he took the turn and tried to shoot my Ironclad, then it's a different story. Because the Sky Wardens themselves don't actually put that much output out if you can't get your flare pistol into position for the reroll hits. So this wasn't fair. It wasn't a game. He gave me the turn, and I killed all the Gut Rippers, a 9 block, and put some damage on the Sludge Breaker. And then he couldn't threaten him. He couldn't threaten me with anything. And then I got the turn and killed the rest of it.
Yeah. There's the thing with Kruelboyz is that they're fairly easy to kill. There's a lot of stuff we struggle to kill in the game, but not Kruelboyz because 4 or 5 saves.
Because he got one of the 4-ups, but because it's on 4+, he should get 1. He only got the 1. If it would have been different as well if he got more 4+, because I wouldn't be able to kill the Bolt Boys. But as soon as they're gone, they're like paper, and then it hasn't got anything to kill you with.
And the thing is with the Bolt Boys, well, depending on how they're deployed, you can sort of just sit 27 inches away from one unit, or 27.1 inches away from one, and then shoot another unit. But if they're not right next to each other, and it's because they don't necessarily. We have the movement. And it's quite helpful. So that sounds like that was relatively simple. The double turn basically won the game.
Giving me the turn one. I didn't need a double turn. It just the double turn.
Yeah, not the double turn. The fact that because you won the
one. Yeah,
didn't you win
he gave me the turn, which was his mistake. So if he didn't do that, it would have been a different game, definitely.
But then didn't you win the roll off for
round 2? So he didn't get the opponent.
I did, but if he went for the turn and killed my Ironclad, it doesn't matter if I got the double. Because I wouldn't have an iron. It was the Ironclad that killed most of his army. It just killed all of the screens, like all the Gut Rippers. I popped exploded 6s, and all my 24-inch guns went into like the beast skewer and stuff like that. And just because it exploded 6s, you just end up getting more hits, and you re-roll it ones against targets. And the Ironclad does a lot of the damage in that list anyway.
Cool. Any questions about this game, guys? Or
which units did you grudge?
Oh yeah.
The Snatch boss and both Bolt Boys.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did you ever get to shoot the Ironclad with the Killbow?
He did. He missed.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
because that can be potentially fairly deadly against an Ironclad.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on then. So next up was Lumineth with some foxes.
Oh, that's a good matchup.
Yeah. So there's we've mentioned the current theme. This is another 1-drop. Lord Regent, the named Fox, Severith, Hurricane, Windmage, 30 Sentinels, 2 units of 10 Wardens, 2 non-named, normal Foxes, all in a battle regiment. How do you feel about that before you went into the game?
As long as I rolled average, I knew it'd be okay. It's just if I whiffed, it's very bad. He did the right. He's a Worlds player on the Russians team as well, so he knew what he's doing and he went first. I don't know if he killed the right target, but he killed my unit of 9 and a unit of 3 Wardens. Turn 1, and then Severith charged and killed another 2 units of 3, and then disappeared because he got double move on Severith, so he can come in, do like loads of mortals. He can then do it again when he moves at the end of the combat phase. And the other mistake he made in turn 1 is he charged a normal Fox into 3 Skywards. This is what I was saying. And then he killed one. I killed my champion. I did 8 damage back to him. Fight on death. But he didn't need to do that. So he could have just got rid of that. But that's just what's happened because you can't pile. You can only pile in an inch, but you 2 inch reach on the spear thing. So
yeah. So the fight on death probably caught him by surprise a bit there.
So it allowed me in my turn one because the Ironclad was still alive. I couldn't get in range with the carbines to shoot the Sentinels, but my main gun, my torpedoes, and all my 24-inch and my flare pistol was in range. I killed all the Sentinels and then 2 Foxes in my turn 1, and then I won the roll. And then that was another. That I kind of did need the double there to win by a large margin because he had all the objectives. But getting the double, I killed the whole army basically.
I mean, KO are good against Fox spam at least because Foxes move at the end of the shooting phase, don't they?
Yeah,
so we can actually, unlike a lot of other armies, we can actually catch them out and do damage to them before they pop off somewhere else and get out of range.
Yeah, and you can slow them down with navigators.
Yeah.
So you can slow one down, shoot the other 2, and then it's just Sentinels.
And you can deal with the Sentinels because again, like the Kruelboyz, they're not hard to kill. But
they are quite hard to kill because he put his on a 4-up, ignoring all my rend.
Right.
This is where the drill cannons actually did work. Rolling when you get the flare pistol off, I did roll like 3 or 4 6s to hit, and then it's like 12 mortal wounds. Yeah. But the Sentinels can get onto a 4-up save, -1 to hit, ignoring all your rends, so they're not that easy to kill for a turn anyway.
It depends what buffs they're using and stuff, doesn't it? But they're not, because they have like a 5-up base save. They're never getting to like the 2+ sort of stuff, ignoring rend, or which some armies are doing, which is one of the. Yeah. I mean, the -1 to hit is annoying, but the flare pistol helps mitigate that.
Massively. Yeah. You're fishing for 6s anyway for the drill cannons.
Yeah.
On the sky one.
Yeah, so that's a question I have. Would you deliberately re-roll a successful hit to get a 6?
Depends on the target because it is still rem 3, D3 damage.
Yeah.
Depends if it's like the Sentinels or something where I know I need them mortals to kill them. So,
because you're only hitting them on 5s, re-rolling everything, would you just re-roll the 5s again?
I'd keep the 5s against Sentinels because your Ren 3 still hurts them.
Okay.
But against Archeon or a God Hero, you'd fish for 6s, definitely.
And then Ren 3 isn't going to do anything.
Or like anything like a Maw Crusher or anything that has a 3-up save that can get onto a 1-up, ignoring your end.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions, Kruelboyz, or?
No.
This is nice, easy one. This is like shot stuff.
Yeah, I shot him. Turn 2, game over. Yeah. Table 2.
Double turn. Kill him.
It's
Easy.
kind of like
This
going
is
back
this
to
is
what,
this is like KO in second edition.
edition, yeah.
But the next game, it was 5 turns. We didn't lose hardly any of our armies. We can go into it, but you'll see
Yeah.
why when you see.
Okay, and we have a loss coming up, so where the real interesting stuff comes up anyway.
Yeah, it's a horrific matchup. This.
So next one was against Seraphon.
Oh.
I've heard horror stories about it, Seraphon.
So yeah,
It's-
not 1 drop though, 5 drops.
That's
Still lower than me though.
Interesting.
Flinch. Interesting.
So
That
Proxy
says
Gore?
flinch.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's internal
Wait,
conflagration.
hang on.
What's
Yeah, just
that's a weird
I
Seraphon.
didn't pick that up. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean you may only really need to check your stuff. I mean, there's always some sort of mistakes on the screen share. Don't worry.
That's what people come here for. It's what people.
Yeah.
It's iconic.
Yeah, yeah. So Engine of the
It's
Gods.
just Thunder Lizard Seraphon.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that hurts.
If it was Draxtail, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Not Thunder Lizards.
A Star Master, Star Priest, an All Priest, 2 units of 10 Skinks, 1 unit of 10 Swords Guards, 2 units of 6 Croxagore, 5 Chameleon Skinks, and a Bastillodon with the
Yeah. Those are
So
not
you
guards.
want
Those are Saurus Knights that you rarely see.
This was also
Yeah.
on shifting objectives. Well, whatever that's called now, I forget. That's not-
Veins of Gur.
no, that's Stars. That's old Stars. Right?
The one with the 3 in the middle and
Tectonic Interference.
yeah, that's it.
That's
Tectonic
yeah.
Interference.
So it was very good for him.
Mm.
He did give me an out by giving me the turn, so I could
Mhm.
score on objectives, which is probably his mistake. But I fired everything into the slan, to try and get rid of the 3d6 on the engine, and I did 4 damage to the slan with my whole army
Wow.
Cool.
because he was in the temple and I didn't roll any 6s. So
Ouch.
Okay, it's an unusual list with 2 units of Croxagores and Saurus Knights.
yeah. The
This is not your
yeah.
typical Thunder Lizard
Mhm.
list. That usually has some salamanders, some bastillodons, some stegodons. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't amazing versus me because I don't get into combat, but they still just tank your damage because they got a decent save.
Mm.
So this basically just one. It was just a big grind. I got up on objectives. I didn't do any damage in my turn 1. I slowed down the engine because it had the cloak, but then the cloak doesn't get halved, so it didn't really affect him that much because he could still just run and charge and stuff anyway.
Mhm.
So it was just I didn't really lose much of my army, but I couldn't really ever commit into combat with him. So he ground out the win in the end. I lost like 15-5, I think.
Right.
I could never get the objectives off him. So we both scored all our grand strategies and battle tactics and stuff, but I just couldn't get to the primary.
Yeah.
You can't do enough damage to the army to start scoring high on the primary.
And Tectonic Interference is one where the objectives are more valuable than most games because you're not stuck at that 1, 2, and more. You can potentially be getting like
4 points every
4
turn.
points instead of the 3. And you can get behind quite quickly potentially. Just basically got behind and couldn't kill stuff enough, I guess.
Yeah, so the general killed the Bastillodon, killed 10 Skinks and 3 Crocs. And I didn't really kill anything else. So the general just was the main thing. Because of his mortal wounds on the grudge targets, it's you can start doing damage to these.
Mm-hmm. What did you grudge on this game?
The Crocs and the Bastillodon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something that's occurred to me as well, probably should have asked it in the previous games, is how did you sort of decide, when to use a flare pistol? Because obviously, if you're already re-rolling 1s against some of the targets you've chosen, then it's sometimes potentially a little bit of a waste to use a flare pistol.
So the time where, because it's 15 inches, you could teleport your Ironclad. If they ever had a flank that had 2 juicy targets, I would. Ironclad doesn't need to have flare pistol when you've got reroll 1s on the target because he just spends a CP and triumph. So then I'll shoot the flare pistol at the other target, and then all the wardens will fire at that target, and then the Ironclad can just do his own thing, fighting at a grudge target.
Okay, so at the beginning of the game, when you're picking your grudges, was ever in the back of your mind? Oh, but I might flare pistol that target.
Yes, so I flare pistol the Slan to try and take the Slan off the bottom turn 1, but I didn't roll any 6s, so he didn't die.
Okay. Any questions, guys, or no?
Yeah, It is tough because all your damage is halved basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's handy that you have a lot of volley guns, so they're damage 1, so nothing gets halved. But
Yeah, well, it doesn't half the mortal wounds either.
Yeah.
From the
and mortal wounds, but it's a lot of wounds there.
Did you did put a volley cannon on your boat, didn't you?
No, I didn't know that was a thing until I rewrote the list for the Release the Beast. The team tournament. I saw the volley cannon and I should have picked that, but I never picked it for this tournament.
I think the cannon does better against things that aren't this.
Mm-hmm.
The volley cannon.
No, the volley cannon does best again. In Barak Thryng is better than all the other guns. Every time.
In Barak Thryng, 100%. Because you exploding 6s with that many shots, right?
Not even. Even just having reroll 1s to hit, it just does more than the
the effect because you have more dice that you reroll.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just sometimes the 18-inch range is a bit limiting. Sometimes you want that 24.
But when you commit with the Ironclad, you're in range anyway.
Yeah, because you need your Ironclad within 12 most of the time. Something anyway. Yeah. Okay, so so let's. So this is the game you lost. So then I guess that means that pushed you down the table a little bit. You played against.
Yeah, so it was table 1 then, and this pushed me down to like table 8 or something, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's so many people at this tournament. So.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Ossiarch next. Petrifex Elite. Only 3 drops, but still less than you. So yeah, Petrifex Elite, Cavalos, Arcan, Soul Mason, 20 Mortret Guard, 10 Mortret Guard, some Death Riders, 4 Morgoth's Harbingers, and the Harvester, Bone Tire Shrieker as well, and Battle Regiment and Hunters of the Heartland, which obviously you're not bothered about the Hunters of the Heartland, so that's fine. How did you feel about going into this?
I felt pretty confident just because OBR doesn't like shooting. The Petrifex Elite change is very good.
Yeah.
Especially when I started rolling my dice and shooting him, I realised my damage wasn't going to do as much as I thought because it just ignores all your friend.
Yeah. I come up against these guys recently, and they're just you're still not. They're still very, very tanky.
Very good at getting the objectives. The only thing that went in my favour here is the only time I needed to roll 6s, I rolled a lot of 6s.
Okay.
So he gave me the turn, and I killed all the I put the reroll ones to hit on the Harbingers, Arcan, and the Liege Cavalos.
Mm-hmm.
And I put Arcane on 1 wound, killed all 4 Harbingers, and the Harvester on like 3 wounds. And pushed all my army up. He obviously had then try and commit to the objectives, but this is where my fight and death it just went mental. Like I think it killed 12 Mortec Guard on fight on death. Arcan didn't kill very much, and I won the turn into turn 2, which then just accelerated me. I could just get rid of the bodies, I didn't kill that much stuff in turn 2, but I could get back onto the objectives and score, just keep scoring the primary, and he was just slowly losing his. And then he lost Arcan at that point in turn 2. So he kind of just gave up. I think when Arcan died, it did go to like turn 3 or 4 because the Mortec just so hard to kill.
Yeah. Do you think part of the reason the Fire and Death is so good is because people don't defensive buff up for trying to kill 3 Sky Wardens? So, the fact that you're only -1 red doesn't matter so much, and that sort of thing.
And then he charged the Legion Cavalos into the Ironclad, and obviously I've got 8. I've got all them shots, and re-rolling ones to hit. And then I didn't kill him because he's still on like a 2-up save, ignoring all my rend. But he was on like 3 wounds, so then the bombs dropped. And then my general killed him in combat. So, but yeah, I think it's still a good matchup. It's just not as good as it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions, guys? Or
so with a list like this, your main targets would be Archon and the Harvester, I guess.
I put it on the Cavalos because I thought it would stop him charging me, but he just charged me anyway. So I picked Arcan, Cavalos, and the Harbinger, and I used my reroll hits to kill the Harvester. I picked the Harbingers because I killed them turn 1, and the Liege and the Arcan for the rerolls to hit, and I used my Flare Pistol to kill the Harvester.
Yeah. So the Harvester is like the one thing you want to get rid of.
Yeah.
First, yeah. Because if not, it's just an uphill battle because he keeps putting models back.
Yeah.
Plus, Arcan can put them back, and then like if you don't kill the 20 Mortic in one sitting, more or less they're back to 20.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's why I stuck around because I didn't actually kill the Harvester till turn 3, and I put it onto like 2 wounds, but he charged into a game, the fight on death. He charged into 3 wardens, and then we looked the roll up. I went, well, my fight on death happens before you heal, so he killed his Harvester before he could heal himself.
True.
Okay. We have a question from the chat, not about this game, but just generally about the list. So obviously, you wanted to use Wardens. You saw they went down in points. You wanted to do like the whole like clown car thing. But the question is, why not use Zon to make the Wardens kill you in melee?
In Age of Sigmar 3, I don't think any of the other sub-factions even put you... I think Barak Thryng is the only way if you want to do well in the tournament. Re-rolls to hit. Because if you fluff with KO, the game's over. You have to kill what you shoot to score the primary. If you don't score the primary, you lose the game. Without doing that reliably, I don't think you can reliably win a tournament without being Barak Thryng. So if you want to win or do well with KO, then I think Barak Thryng is the only way that you can go.
So you don't think Monar with the half charges shenanigans?
No, I played against someone in this tournament. I think there was about 12 KO players. At the end, they were the lowest. They were low, like Mornar and Ziflin. They were the lowest win rate army.
Wow.
I mean, the problem with Mornar and the Gale Force stave and things is there's just so much shooting at the moment. It's one of the problems.
And there's a lot of stuff that gets around it as well. Like the Demon Prince is very powerful, the Khorne Demon Prince, but people are so used to it now that there is things that can just...
Zench just completely ignores it.
Yeah, Zench ignores it, and there's lots of things that give you bonuses to charge. A lot of people have started to use battle mages now for Stormcast. They get +2 to charge. There's just a lot of things around it now, especially with the Dragon's Hero Phase teleport move, charging a 2+. All these armies that are doing well just have outs, and now that Kragnos is here as well, it makes it even even worse.
Yeah, 3d6 charge. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And yeah, Zilfin. I mean, the main trick with Zilfin before was Warp Lightning Vortex, which I mean, I personally haven't been using for a while now.
No.
I don't know. How do you guys feel about Zilfin?
I mean, I stopped using the Vortex like 2 months into the new book because it was a bit of a meme thing. I think everyone knew what's going to happen, so I opted for the 20 Thunderers in your face deployment kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and then I went through full Skywards and Zon, like the melee multi wound build, which was fun and people didn't expect it, and it worked. But the cogs killed that, so and reinforcements. Now I think Zilfin is still very good, just because the hero phase move it helps a lot, and reroll ones against flying, and again rerolls, and a lot of threats are flying, so it's almost the same as Thryng.
Yeah.
I don't. Oops, sorry.
Oh, I'm still here. Speaking up for the Warp Lightning Vortex, I'll keep. I think it's really good. Not just for the mortal wounds, but just stopping people running. Basically shutting down their army in a certain spot of the board. It's just got a lot of versatility, and it's a really good thing to have. Like for 90 points, it puts out so much consistent damage, unless you go but it just like turns off a section of the board, pretty much completely. From what I've found.
I think the problem with the Vortex is as soon as you play somebody that's very good with deployment, it does nothing, and it's not worth 200 points. But against people that are not aware it's coming, then it's very powerful. But somebody that can just screen it off, it's not worth its points. For me, anyway. And Zilfin does reroll ones against flyers, but again, there's so many other targets that you kind of need to kill that doesn't fly. Especially with you have to kill the bodies to win the game, and a lot of the body lists aren't flying. Such like Soul Blight or Nurgle, you want the reroll ones to hit against the Plague Bearers or the 60 zombies.
Another reason for Zilfin being a favorite maybe is if you want to go one drop with KO, you need to fill points, and the easiest way is to put frigates into a battle regiment as troops.
Battle line.
That's because your units are not expensive enough. It sounds stupid, but unless you want to build and push around 2 blocks of 30 Arcanauts, which is not good in my opinion, to get to a 1-drop. So then, I need something expensive. Here's this expensive mid-sized boat. It's a troop. I can put it in here. That's 250 points. So maybe that's also a reason for Zilfin, because people want to go 1-drop, do the hero phase move shenanigans, and that's one way to do it.
The double mount trait is good as well if you're going to run 2 Ironclads.
If
you run 2 Ironclads, because the ones for the frigates are all shit. And the other thing is it gets you access to more artifacts by remaining 1-drop with collector trait, and
it is one of the only good ones that doesn't force you to take a certain command trait, which means you have that freedom.
It's surprising how often. Kind of surprising how often you come up against stuff where there just isn't anything that flies, or nothing that's really good that flies.
Or it's a Frost Art Phoenix and +2 save. Like, who cares? Kill it.
At the moment.
And say if you don't have the 2 Ironclads, if one of them's a frigate, and say if you have something like Malefic Sky Mines, it's like, well, you haven't got anything that flies. I'm not going to reroll 1, so I'm also then not using my boat artifact because you've got nothing that flies to use that, and it's I think
the main driver is artifacts and 1-drop that pushes people towards Zilfin. But I agree, Thryng. I thought it was strong in 2nd edition because of the Hearthguard Berserker things you could do on Fire Slayers, and now it is just rerolls. I totally agree.
Okay, so we probably gone off on a tangent enough there from the question. But yeah, let's move on because it's the last game. Yes, last game.
Yeah.
So Stormcast again. Bit different though. This time it has got the Lord Relictor.
Very.
Yeah. An Incanter, Battle Mage for the +2 to charge. 2 Fulminators, 5 Liberators, 5 Judicators, 2 Dragons, 6 Long Strikes, 2 units of 3 Aether Wings, and 3 Prosecutors with Javelins. All in Warlord and the Hunters of the Heartland. 11 drops. So you actually you out-dropped someone finally.
So this
Prosecutors are the flying dudes, are they?
Yeah, with the really pointy wings that break.
Yeah, I haven't seen those in like 3 years. Okay.
So when I saw this list, I thought 11 drops. That's good. I can threaten it. But I only won this game 11-9 in the end. But in this tournament, they started testing out terrain rolls as well. So there were lots large. Sometimes in some of the maps there were large pieces of terrain where you can't see anybody that's inside that terrain. And he had a piece of terrain which he could put his whole army in, so I couldn't see him turn 1. So he was basically 1 drop. So I had to give him the turn because I just couldn't do anything with my army. He's good. He's the Spanish guy as well from Worlds, so he obviously knew what he was doing. So he took turn 1. He teleported long strikes. They then did 16 damage to my Ironclad in the hero phase. They rolled 4 6s. No, 6 6s or something. It was crazy. Which then allowed him to shoot off my 6 block of Wardens and my Flare Pistol Navigator and use these Judicators to finish off the Ironclad. So I lost 6 Wardens and Ironclad and my Flare Pistol Navigator in my turn 1. In his turn 1.
Okay.
So it only gave me one option, and that was to use my army as a combat army. But luckily in return, this is where the reroll 1s was massive because they were on the Fulminators, the 6 long strikes, and the dragons. In my turn 1, my 9 block moved up to use exploding 6s. It doesn't work on the mortals, but it works on everything else. And I killed the whole unit of 6 the Raptors because I reroll 1s to hit and exploding 6s. So the 9 block killed the 6 Vanguard Raptors. He left everything else in the terrain, like the Fulminators. He left the dragons in the sky and all his heroes. So there was only after that it was only 6 Aether Wings and the 5 Judicators, which I'd picked to kill for a battle tactic. So I'd killed. I'd put the Prosecutors down to 1 guy left, killed the 5 Judicators, killed the 6 Raptors and the 2 units of 3 Aether Wings. And obviously the next turn roll was either instantly he won or it kept me in the game. I then won the roll, and then because he was all crowded in his terrain piece. I screened off for the dragons, and then I just committed all my 9 and my general, charged everything in. Because his Fulminator was like behind loads of screens, I just used my general to kind of tag the Fulminators, so they couldn't fight over the Liberators because they're on 40 mil bases. But yeah, so because I could pin him in and he couldn't really score high on the objectives. I managed to hold on for long enough just to pip him on points in the end. But the general did work again. He ended up killing a dragon and a half. The fight on death was massive. 2 dragons come down, charged, shot off 1 unit of 3, charged another unit of 3. But my champion died and killed a dragon when he died on the way out. That was pretty funny. So yeah, it was a very back and forth game. We didn't have much left at the end. It come down to he turned his mage into a monster so he could outscore my 2 heroes on objective. but then in turn that give me a battle tactic to bring it down and get a monster point. So my navigator, I finest outward, so he'd be 3s to wound, and he luckily he just shot him off. He didn't even need to charge in, but yeah, he shot him off, and that's what won me the game.
Okay.
What I did find about the navigator is that you could deploy him outside of the boat and put reroll 1s to wound on the 9 block. So that was one good thing about the 9 block, is that
the chemist.
The chemist, sorry.
I was wondering, how did the navigator shoot? Like, he
The
had 2
chemist,
shots.
yeah.
Like, what is he doing?
He could give reroll 1s to wound to the 9 block and then jump in the boat and then fly off and stuff.
Was it the chemist that shot the battle mage then?
Yeah, the chemist, sorry, not the navigator. Because you get 3d6 shots and then it's 4s and 3s, isn't it? But, yeah.
Okay.
The chemist. But I found that was very useful, having a 9 block for the reroll 1s to wound, because that's obviously helped me massively killing the long strikes as well. Because the problem with the volley guns on the wardens is it's not very reliable. 4s and 4s, it doesn't do very much damage, but when you can have reroll 1s to hit, reroll 1s to wound, explode in 6s, and then +1 to hit, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, the buffs add up a bit.
Yeah.
Cool. One thing I didn't mention when I was reading out the list was that the Lord Relictor had Mirror Shield. Obviously, would have been a bit of a... Did you ever attempt to kill the Lord Relictor, or just...
No, that's what kept him in the game as well, being able to just teleport him around, getting the objectives as I lost. I could never kill him, really. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess it would have been a lot less close then without that.
If I wasn't Barak Thryng, I would have definitely lost straight away. Reroll 1s to hit was huge in this, because it just helps. Your fight on death just becomes more reliable as well, because you're rerolling your 1s against the grudge targets, and your general just does a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, and the artifact and the command trait for the general, it's kind of easy to look at them as a bit of a tax, but they seem to actually be fairly useful.
Yeah, they're very good. Fighting on death on a 2+ is, if you use it, if you use him as a suicide piece, he does a lot of damage, especially with his shooting as well. In that turn where you finest hour, all his guns are on 2s to wound, and he just goes in rerolling all his hits and wounds and doing mortals and stuff. Yeah, he can do a lot of damage, more than what
he has some rend on the guns and his
rend 2, rend 1, yes.
Okay. So that was the last game. I think you come 5th in the end.
Yeah.
So
I got I think 91 points out of 120 in the end. So it was all right.
And we didn't mention this, but how many players were in this tournament?
104.
So
yeah,
you were
That's
better than 99.
Good result.
Yeah, I mean it's a different game on TTS. You can't compare it to real life, but it's it was all right. It was you can definitely go in going for more of a laugh, even if you're competitive on TTS. You can just try things out.
Yeah, you didn't just spend £300 on Sky Ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned how you've got like the 6 days, so you can have a look up, see what your opponent's list does and stuff.
Yeah, well, you want to play your game as soon as you can, but you got a week to play your game basically, because you're playing everybody. I mean, game 1 he was from Australia, game 2 Germany, game 3 Russia, game 4. It's Tavi, so he lives not far from me. And then game 5 was America, and then game 6 was Spain. So
that's awesome.
It's really cool.
So many people. Yeah.
So it's yes, you played the tournament, and now basically these TGS tournaments is like, well, that one's finished. Let's do another one. So, and we sort of alluded to it earlier. So there is now another tournament running, and you change your list up a bit.
So this one is a 6-man team event using the Worlds pack rules. So it's kind of like a practice for Worlds.
Okay.
Unless you're a very competitive team, and then you'll use a list that you don't want anybody. You won't use your Worlds list basically.
Okay.
Which I think most of them have done.
Okay. So you changed up the list, so what about the list was it that you didn't like that led you to change the list?
Is the Sky Wardens only really did their damage in either combat, and they didn't really do much of the output. A lot of the output, about probably 60% of my damage was the Ironclad, which is obviously only 25% of my army. So I just said I'll just put 2 Ironclads. And especially playing that last game, knowing that 6 long strikes is just going to kill an Ironclad, knowing that you can just deploy all your guys out of the boats or near the Ironclads and then just jump in the boats and then go somewhere. So you don't have to commit. You don't have to. You can keep a lot of your army alive if you've got 2 Ironclads. You can do the trade-off because they're 6 long strikes are the same points as an Ironclad almost. So you can trade off at that point and still be a game there.
Okay, so let's look at the list you're going to take for this current tournament that's now starting. So Barak Thryng still, we know why, because you like the reroll ones, I'm assuming. Dirigible suit, same command trait and artifact because you have to use those ones. Engine Master of Engine Harness, Navigator with the Flare Pistol, another Navigator, 2 units of 10 Archnauts, 2 units of 3 Wardens, this time without drill cannons but with grapnel launchers, and then 3 Riggers, which they do have the drill cannon. 2 Ironclads, both with volley gun cannons, 1 with the last word. Alpha Beast Pack, obviously the Ironclads, Command Entourage and Battle Regiment to make it 6 drops. And 1975, so a Triumph bid. So this list is a lot more interesting to me than the first one. Because the first one is kind of, it's loads of Wardens.
The first one was a meme. You shouldn't really go far. You shouldn't really win a tournament with that list. Or do well as I did. I obviously got lucky with my priority rolls, I guess, in some of my games. But you couldn't reliably do well. With the Sky Wardens as well. Just because the Sky Wardens just don't do very much damage, even with reroll ones. It's just 4s and 4s, just doesn't do anything really.
Okay. So talk us through some of the picks here. First thing, grapnel launchers instead of drill cannons. Is that because of the fight on death thing and sort of trapping units, or?
It was for Alpha Beast, so you can Alpha Beast and then pin someone in the backboard edge.
Right.
Okay. So you can pin the screens in and shoot everything behind the screens, and then they can't really move.
Okay.
Because a lot of people say you can't hitch with Alpha Beast, but Worlds have rolled it you can.
Okay.
Same as the Ziflin move, you can hitch with your Ziflin move.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought you normally you can't because it's the wording slightly different.
It was in the FAQ, KO FAQ. Then they removed all the FAQs and kind of broke it again somehow.
Yeah.
But if you're going to get technical with hitching, you can't ever hitch. So let's not get too bogged down in it because it
needs an FAQ base. They should have just left the FAQ that was there. That's always been still there in Japanese. It's still there in other languages. They're just not removed it from.
I mean, I remember they in Daughters of Cain they removed the Morothy's got again too, so she went back down again, one again on her spear, just because they got rid of it.
But I don't know whether it's KO is good enough for Worlds because they have rolled garrison rolls as broken, so you can't. the other thing about the release of the beast is you could they were ruling that you could get out your boat and then move.
Okay.
So that's the same rule here, but in World
Worlds, they don't, and I know
they have
why.
FAQ. Apparently, they're not going to.
Sorry.
Yeah, might be the reason why.
Sorry.
What did you do, Max?
No, I brought it up and I discussed it and I explained it, and yeah, they agreed that it doesn't work.
Because in the KO rules, obviously the intention is to be able to do it, but Garrison.
But they changed garrison rules to end of movement phase, and now
Yeah.
the KO rule allows you to move after, but it's end of movement phase, and the core rules say you can't move end of movement phase. So
Yeah. So
that's it.
I definitely think that one garrison rule, because Arcanauts being able to get out before with Alpha Beast and stuff like that is very powerful because it lets you play the primary. But that one rule, you have to ask your TO or whatever tournament if they're going to allow it or not, because that doesn't make a massive difference.
And mostly they don't understand what the question is, and then need to go into the details of what is KO rules lawyering, and yeah, it's confusing.
So just for re-release the beast, they allowed you to get out of the ship and then also move as well.
No, move
Yeah.
the
So
ship.
did you see the game against Nagash there? I just played Nagash, and there was a point where he was still alive, and I could I was on the Vice, and I could just drop 10 Arcanauts into the middle, and then just send all my Ironclads near Nagash, but away from the objective. So then it would have forced him to go, well, do I go for the objective or do I kill his firepower? It just allows you to do a lot of things, especially like if somebody's on an objective, you can, and your boat's like stuck in combat and you want to get out of there, but because you can get out within 3, you can kind of take the objective off them, but then still keep your Ironclad alive. There's so many scenarios where it is so good for you to have 10 bodies and just put them where you need to. Especially in KO where you need to start scoring on the primary from like turn 3, 4, 5.
When you're in a tournament, the rules that you can't do it, that it's debilitating essentially. Like you just can't.
I just wouldn't
very
take,
difficult.
I wouldn't take KO basically if that was the case.
What I was interested was to see exactly how they've ruled it, because depending on how far you take it, you can do things like there's arguments to be made that you can get out when the ship piles in or when the ship charges in and stuff like that. So is it literally just they're playing it like how it was in 2.0?
I don't know yet. They've not put it in the thing, but hopefully Max words it to them in the right way.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think you'll see KO after that. Probably. No. I don't know.
Well, Alex, will bring him.
You underestimate how stubborn I am. It's gonna happen.
Because
he's gonna make it work.
I'm not gonna make it work, but I'm gonna bring them.
If you get
bring them and make it not work.
You want to be a team to go competitively. There's 8 other armies that are very, very good.
Yeah, there's 10 or 11 lists that you want to bring.
There's like,
and already you're kicking, and then someone comes around like, maybe you should bring 2 Ironclads. Like, yes, but no. I mean, I brought KO to the last edition in Milan, and it didn't go too well. That's not because KO was bad, but I brought the wrong list, basically. I brought a melee mortal wound list in Zon, which was fun.
Skywardens, didn't you?
Yeah, 12 Sky ones with cogs and moving over the board, charging in. I mean, I reliably killed what's his name, Catacross turn 1 in 3 games, but it was a hard match. Like I had 2 good matchups and 4 bad ones, so pairing was very hard. So trying to learn from that and do better.
Yeah, your teammates on my team are in this.
Yeah, I know. I have my little spy.
Spy.
I have my spies everywhere.
He's the only one that's lost his first game.
Yeah. I mean, he just came from playing how many Dragon Ogres in another event. So he's like that.
He was in this. He was in the event we're talking about. Yeah.
Oz have an insider with you guys as well, so you know.
Yeah, we know what Australia's playing. They're playing all
Yeah.
destruction. Like they're having a tournament to decide who's playing Kragnos.
There are some spicy
They've got a
twelve
player
lists
called.
going around.
They've got a player called Orcman, so you can kind of guess what he's going to play.
Yeah.
I mean-
So this list that we've got up screen, and we sort of talked about a little bit, is this sort of tailored for a team's event, or would you play this in a singles event as well?
This is what I'd take in a singles.
Yeah.
If Garrison's fixed.
Yeah.
I think
And if they're not, you just wouldn't take care.
as singles is always random. You can't reliably win singles, but I think I could go 5-0 with this list if I had obviously a bit of luck with the matchup.
My thing is, so why? So you're still sticking with Sky Wardens and Endon Riggers. Do you ever think about using Thunderers?
So 6 Sky Wardens do more damage than 10 Thunderers.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting.
Especially,
like,
when they fight on death, and it all adds up. Overall, 6 Sky Wardens will do more damage. No, sorry, not 6. 9 Sky Wardens. It's the same kind of price difference. 9 Sky Wardens in 3 will do more damage than 10 Thunderers. 135 points for a unit that wins on 4s. Doesn't do anything in combat, and your garrison rolls might not work. I just don't see.
Well, they wound on freeze because of the gold, but yeah.
Yeah, but you the time you need to use their gold, you're probably using the gold on the Ironclad.
Yeah. No, I mean Thunderers, they have the benefit of, you charge me, I'm gonna benefit hard from Unleash Hell because I get an extra shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Alex play, and he's Thunderers.
Don't take Alex as a
no benchmark. The problem with save stacking, he
that
shot
thing had
like,
a 1+ save.
and
The thing had a 1+ save.
That's the main. I mean, that is the main issue with KO, that save stacking. Everyone, we have Ren. Yeah, everyone has a +1 save. Congratulations. And that's where we struggle. Apart from not having monsters, not having wizards and priests, and doing strategies and stuff.
and they don't play to the benefit of being able to switch.
Which I thought the other list with the drill cannons kind of solved that, because it's mortal wounds or free rend shots all over the board. So I'm a bit surprised you say, I think this is a better list for a singles event with 2 Ironclads. Where I thought, the Ironclad is it's very good. It's still very good, but sometimes you don't do a dent. Like everything is rent 1. You just don't. You shoot everything, and it's like, 2 damage. Thank you.
It's just. I think you need to look at. This army is anywhere on the board at any point. So in deployment, you can just deploy your army and go. There you go. You do whatever you want. I'll now just be aware that I will now redeploy anywhere on the board 9 away of my whole army.
Just
that alone is just going to make people crumble.
Yeah, that is the classic KO. I'm going to take my army from this corner. I'm going to put it on this side. Going to shoot your half of the army. Then I'm going to take my entire army over this side and shoot the other half. That's how it works, basically.
I'm going to put it in a very compressed, lots of power per square inch sort of area as well.
So is an Ironclad worth 490 points looking at its war scroll? No way.
Comparing it to 2 dragons, no.
It's not elite. It's not. It doesn't. It's just, if you look at, I think the list is very powerful with rerolls.
It counts as 2 on objective.
Yeah. It's not worth, but I think as soon as an Ironclad has rerolls to hit, it becomes very, very reliable damage. Especially when it's 2s rerolling 1s, 2s to wound. It's and nobody can charge an Ironclad when you're. Well, you can't charge an Ironclad when it's got reroll 1s to hit on that target. So against living cities that doesn't have any dragons, you just win the game before deployment, because you can redeploy your army to the middle of the board, and they can't charge you with the fulminators or anything.
But they can, because they use a nice Vexillor, and put the fulminators in front of
If
you.
they have a Knight of Maxilla in the list, but Living Cities, they don't waste a slot on a hero. They'll have as many fulminators as they can get.
Mhm.
Yeah, 8. I'll show you my list.
So, one of the interesting picks in this list for me is the Engine Master on foot. So,
Yes.
Yeah,
is that just extra healing or a little bit of fighting from within the boat?
so you can charge stuff with the Ironclad when he's in there. You can't kill like big units or anything, but he does do damage. And then you drop your bombs. You can't unleash hell at a boat that's garrisoned. So it's very, it's
We
good.
have seen those rules that you can't. Because a boat with that's garrisoned has 2 units in it, so technically you can't unleash hell if it charges you.
That's another one where it depends on how the TO is ruling it.
No, that's just the rule. All you have to do is read the first sentence of.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've had TOs that
I never thought about that.
It's
That's
just
a-
the
yeah,
rule.
that's a
I mean,
go-
I never thought
new-
about that. Like,
is ruling that they're just saying no to the basic rules because it's the
Yeah.
first sentence is all you need.
no,
to
but
read.
it never occurred to me that if you do that, you can circumvent Unleash Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, really, basically, how it's written, it's like 100%. Like, yeah, it just works. And I'm sure we've had this conversation, Max. Like, you has occurred to you, like when the book first dropped, and I'm sure we talked about it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Must have
And then
forgotten.
I played a game. Was it against Nurgle or something? And when they killed the Ironclad, I detonated him. And as soon as you start rolling hot on that detonator, it does quite a bit of damage. For free, it's good because you don't really.
No one
use
expects the
it.
boat to blow up. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you just if you need to commit and do mortal wounds and it's
Yeah. My problem
especially
with
when
that
they get
is
hit by a last word and
because
stuff.
it
like
happens in the combat phase. I mostly already spent my gold for something else in that phase.
Mhm.
I was like, I could detonate. I know I already spent the gold.
that.
But
yeah, I mean, that's not obviously it's not a. It's probably not anything, but it's still addition. With Barak Thryng, you've got a lot of stuff that you just get for free. So, like fighting on death, you can never rely on it, but it does come into play. Same as the Engine Master on foot. It does. Sometimes it does just happen.
Yeah, and that's a neat idea to have like MSU engine riggers with just saws in Thryng. So when they die, you send them forward. When they die, 4+, so you get 3 attacks on average hitting back with 2 rend, D3 damage.
Yeah, with the Sky Wardens, yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's what Tom Lyons did at NashCon in his one list. We had just MSU engine riggers to die and kill people when they die.
Mhm.
But they're
Guess the
expensive.
other question here would be because you're at 1975. So would you be? I mean, obviously you haven't done it. So, but would you ever be tempted to replace at least one of those wardens with another unit of engine riggers?
No, because the Triumph is it's very useful because you're not using your gold, and you can save the gold for like when somebody charges the last word clad, you can just use your gold at that point.
You can use it in conjunction with the gold to make both Ironclads +1 to wound.
Yeah, on the same.
Yeah.
So if you really need to kill that
Yeah.
target,
But you can actually.
this list just basically plays anywhere on the board when you need it, and just slowly works through their army. So it goes to one side, and then goes to the other side. Just keeps going wherever you need it to go.
I mean, the follow-up question to that be if you value the Triumph so much, is why not downgrade those riggers to wardens to guarantee even more?
I think I probably would. I think the reason why I put the riggers in is because both the Triumph on the engine Gibraltar suit is just useless without them. I just thought
the Guild Triumph, you mean?
Yeah. It just lets you. If somebody like Alpha's your Ironclad gets unlucky and leaves it on 2 wounds, you can put like a lot of wounds back on the Ironclad when you pop that.
4, 5, 6, 7, potentially
9.
11,
you can put 12 wounds back on. D3 from the engine master, 3 from the master, and then 6 from the riggers if they roll all the 4 ops.
+1 from the Ironclad.
Yeah, also 13 we put back in the unit.
+1 from the +1 from the Guild Triumph, the extra one.
Yeah. Although, would you just say that's +1 per rigger rolling the 4 up?
No,
or
it's +1 on the
unit?
riggers.
All right.
So
okay.
if he does it without and they fail the rolls, it's still 1.
Okay.
So it just guarantees minimum 1.
Yeah.
That's how
so
I
you get
understand it.
4, 6, 10. You get 11 then, aren't you? 11 max.
Mm-hmm.
Which is more than half.
Yeah, it gives you fly high.
Gives you a fly high back,
Yeah.
and it's just I just shot everything into the Ironclad. It's on 2 wounds and back.
Yeah.
Would you for that? Would you consider a gun holder somewhere, just for the 6-up board?
I would, but it's just fitting one in. They're so I think they're just too expensive for what they do now. Sadly, and there's always a bit of mystical or something that you can move on, or you can't fly high near it, but
you can deploy on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd maybe after playing that game, I'd probably drop 10 Arcanauts for 3 Skywardens, as I just played a game against Nagash.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the Arcanauts really. It's useful having the 10 bodies, but I don't know how often it will be when I need.
They're just screens for your deployment, in my opinion. Arcanauts, chips, they're pretty good for chaff. I mean, 4-up save, couple of shots, +1 to hit on an objective, but they're pretty durable. They don't run.
Yeah, in this tournament, I could alpha B. If somebody say, like I said, someone's 7 drops, I could alpha B's 9 away, get them out within 6, and then my whole army shooting turn 1. So they're good for that, but it's still 4s and 4s, isn't it? So unless you're near an objective, maybe 3 Skywarders probably does do more in this list, because you can still redeploy with everything. Yeah,
because you still have one boat with 4 and 6 and 7. Yeah.
Okay. Question from the chat. I think we probably know what the answer is, but if you didn't have a second Ironclad, what would you bring instead? And then he suggested maybe 2 Grundstocks and more engine riggers.
It's sad to say, but the suit guy and the Ironclads are the only things really worth the point. In KO, all the scrolls are pretty bad. It's not
navigators are also.
It's not a powerful army. Navigators, obviously, but they're not doing anything else. And if they don't,
but it's a dispel and a half move for 95 points. I mean,
they're very
and
good.
It's increased movement for your Ironclad with the Guild Triumph if you want.
Yeah. They're very good. I don't know if I'd have more than 2.
No, 2 is the sweet spot.
But I just in Barak Thryng, Ironclads just accelerate. They probably become worth the points. I don't think. I mean, I tried the list and it had 10 units of Skywardens in, and I definitely think this is better. Is a better list.
Okay.
Because you can't rely on drill cannons. They're very good, obviously, when they roll the 6s, but you can never rely on rolling 6s. So
you can't guarantee 6s, no.
I mean, you can, but it's
just the gamblers
frowned upon to microwave your dice. So.
Pretty sure there are actually there's a pack of 4 dice you can get that are all 6s. They're pretty good. It's pretty good.
The Aethercast dice.
Those are the exclusive ones.
Aethercast dice are not guaranteed to roll 6s, I'm afraid. One thing I can tell you they will definitely do is if you give them to, if you give one away to your opponent at the beginning of the game, your opponent will at least once in the game use that for a priority roll and win. That always happens to me.
Oh no!
What's per game?
Well, on their because if they use it on the most important priority roll, and it always that's when they always win it. They use their Aethercast dice.
I like
yeah.
So it'll win your opponent priority rolls. It won't win you priority rolls, but it'll win your opponent priority rolls.
Yeah.
And make you look like a really good player. You get such a good score.
it.
It's the meta plays.
So I've another question is, if 2 Ironclads is the way to go, because they're the only things that are really worth the points, why not 3?
Because you still need bodies to win the primary.
Okay.
If there was no objectives on the board, you would have 3, definitely.
3 Ironclads is sweet.
Three
That's just
Ironclads,
such a power move to put down 3 Ironclads. Yeah. Okay.
Max just rocks up to Worlds with 3 Ironclads.
I mean,
Go on,
painting the 1 Ironclad I own, that took me 4 weeks. So no, it's not gonna happen. Not with a baby.
4 weeks took me like 2 years.
I mean, you've seen it. Yeah. Okay. You stopped halfway in between, and you're painting yourself.
And repainted it.
And that was like painting 2 hours a day. It's just such a detailed, big model. It's a beautiful model, but I don't know.
It's such a fun model to build, though.
I bought mine already built and primed for like $20. It was a sweet deal. No, KO. It's just I love them, but I don't see them at the top.
You're just a living
where they need to be. Where they need to be. I'm waiting for that White Dwarf update, and then all like single tournaments. I'm gonna come back with my KO.
Nice.
Okay. I have another question as well. Ironclad is the only thing worth its points, but you're in Barak Thryng. Yeah. So you have, like you said, the only thing in KO is basically that's worth the points is the treatable suit in Thryng and the Ironclad. But what about looking outside KO? Are you not tempted by any of the Dwarven you could bring in?
Could you not replace
in
Thryng?
Yeah.
In singles, Iron Drake's in the bridge. Maybe I put Mac. I think he's been on the show before. He still thinks Iron Drakes are good.
Well, Kyle, because he plays in the US. He plays Runelord and Iron Drakes in Thryng, I believe.
Swedish guy. I think he used the Prime and stuff in AOS 2.
Magnus, was that his name?
Can't remember. Marcus,
that was his name.
I
love that list. I played that list a lot. That was great. Yeah.
And the Iron Drakes, because Iron Drakes, who exploded the 6s to hit over the bridge at Ren 2, still does a lot of damage.
It does. It does, but it's a lot of points you're investing. You're investing in a Warlord battalion to get the spell on a bottle. You get the bridge. You get the Runelord. You get the Iron Drakes. It's it's a lot to do. It's a lot to do one trick.
Arcane Tome to cast it, and
I wouldn't rely on Arcane Tome because that's your
you need it.
Big thing. So take spell on a bottle.
You can still have
maybe
Spell and Arcane Tome.
And then maybe have an encounter to auto dispel it and cast it again, or something.
But yeah, maybe there's probably play in it. But
it's still very good. But they got up in points again in winter. 160 now, I think, for 10.
170.
170.
Shooting units are now basically across the board 170, no matter how good they are. It's just
like archers 170.
Yeah,
Iron Drakes 170.
Yeah. They've even just done it with Ideneth. Like the Reavers are now 170. There's everything is just 170.
Oryx aren't 170, but they're shit. So
they're not good enough to be the.
They're not good anymore. That was a neat trick you could do because it damage 2 against monsters, tunnel them, and shoot stuff, but not anymore.
Okay.
But I just played my first game in the tournament with this list, and I used Exploded 6 to hit, Triumph and +1 to hit, and I put Nagash on 3 wounds left. So it's obviously can still do a lot of damage. He was on straight 2-up save, so he's on obviously hoping he rolls 1s, and then I rolled the big 20 shots, loads of 6s to hit. So yeah, he can. He does give you that. The Barak Thryng just gives you that chance against something that you probably would never have a chance against otherwise.
Yeah, because I guess you basically, in some way, swap the potential for mortal wounds for the sheer weight of dice by using the volley guns and the exploding sixes and things.
Yeah, and this list also lets you split your army in two and go either flank, and then they can only all out defense one of the flanks.
Yep.
And then Flare Pistol lets you reroll hits on that flank, and then the Grudge Bearer target reroll hits on that flank. So one Ironclad could be freeze rerolling everything, and one Ironclad could be twos rerolling ones. So it's the kind of same difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice way to do that.
Yeah. But Engine Master, he rolled them sixes. You're loving it. Three more wins. And then he fights again when he dies on a 4+. Does it again.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to have some sort of healing, I think, in a list as well. Having played lists recently without any healing, and it's, if your Ironclad gets, below fly high capabilities, and the healing one from the Ironclad on its own is not enough.
No.
And you don't necessarily need to be able to heal, say like 13 or 10 or something in one turn, but the difference between hitting 1 a turn and hitting 3 a turn, or 4 a turn, is enough that, okay, well, I won't be able to heal up enough this turn to fly high, but then they still want to do something about my Ironclad, because if not, the turn after I can fly high. Whereas you can be in situations where you haven't got any healing other than the actual Ironclads built in. It's like, well, even by round 5, I won't be able to fly high. So I've had that.
And we laugh about the detonate. But I know if your Ironclad's on like a couple of wounds left, your Engine Master's in there, you just need to kill a I don't know, something that's got like a 2-up save, but there's only a few wounds left. Ironclad goes in, drops bombs, Engine Master fights. You know he's going to die, and then exploding. It's still like, what is it? 4 or 5 is still D3 mortals. Roll a big 6, D6 mortals. It's still it does let you decide. Well, I'm going to lose the Ironclad anyway. I'll just send him in and try and do their mortals.
Okay. Joe in the chat is desperately trying to find a reason not to build and paint another Ironclad. Because the other time he says, "What about Gotrek?"
I never rated Gotrek anyway. Competitively, he obviously was going to dominate the mid tables, and he's a very powerful war scroll. But there's one stat on his war scroll, and that's his movement. And if you can play it, then you win the game. He does let you dominate one objective, but you have to play like you play in gambler with Gotrek, because if you go to that one objective and then you burn it, that he does nothing. Or you go to that objective and you get to burn theirs, and then he obviously puts you in a driving position, but it's not reliable. That you can't rely on that kind of play. And he's gone up in points as well now. I never rated him before, so
I don't think he's good in KO, because he's not there where you want the army. Like, he doesn't play how the army plays. The army plays with movement, jumping around, projecting power, and he's just walking forward. Then he finally charges one thing, kills it, and the rest of the game he's just stuck somewhere in nowhere land. Looking for
sat at the back on your home objectives will probably do the same thing as Gotrek, and they're 100 points.
I'd rather have something like a Celestine Prime, maybe, because he has the movement in coming down, guaranteeing a 12-inch charge, doing some mortal wounds and shooting, and he can still hit hard.
Well, just dragons. Just put 2 dragons in there.
I mean, dragons obviously is the answer, but if everyone brings 2 dragons, then okay.
I do. The Prime, I like the Prime, but it always lets me down. His mortal wounds are good, but if he doesn't come down and do his damage, it's just, I don't know. I've never got on with him. I know he's got a 4-up board now.
That's the thing. I got on with him, but then sometimes he got hit, slapped back, and died. If he didn't kill what he attacked, he usually died. Like the round he came down.
There's not many attacks there, so there is quite a good chance you can still fluff, even if you even say
even
like
with 2s.
All out attack.
2s and 2s.
He does just fluff. It's so annoying.
Yeah, but with a 4-up ward, he's more reliable, and so you can bring him down turn 2 with 5 attacks. He's still fit. And the thing that you can tell your opponent, okay, I can do this. I have my ships here, and I can go everywhere. Plus, there's this mad lad coming down and guarantee charging you anywhere on the board. It's just that maybe he's not as good, but the fear of him sometimes leads to people playing differently in your favor.
I mean, it probably was good for the Unleashed Shell, but now, obviously, with it is how it is now, Ironclad's just being able to do that role. He's less effective in that way. Yeah. He's definitely a good. He's still a good model. He's still. I don't know if he's worth 325 points, but he's still good.
Maybe 300 was fine, I think. But yeah, it's an alternative to dragons or a Godric or whatever else people want to put in their lists.
What I would say is that if you're going for something like a 1-drop, the fact that he's a hero is helpful compared to dragons because you can take that hero slot.
Yeah, and he's a small hero.
Problem is, Double Navigator has to be in every KO list, so you don't even have the hero slot.
Yeah. And the other thing is, what I was going to say is, you could the alternative there, if you were going to use him, you have the option of the Knight to Cronus, but I think the Prime is better than the Knight to Cronus because the Knight to Cronus kind of has this similar problem where it's not playing how KO wants to play as Godric has. I mean, he's faster than Godric by a lot, but
the Knight to Cronus can't do the hero phase move, can he?
Yeah, and that is.
Yeah. He's just 2 dragons, isn't he? 300 points for him or 2 dragons for 340.
Yeah, you take 2 dragons, 100%.
2 monsters, counting as 10, 18 wounds on a free up save, 2 rend.
Same defensive stats as an Ironclad, and they're
better offensive.
Kind of immune to
they can't charge an Ironclad, though. They can't charge an Ironclad, sadly.
Well, we're going to have something.
Yeah. The problems I've had with both the Celestial Prime and with the Knight to Cronus is they don't help in turn 1 most of the time. Sometimes can't help in turn 2, and then by turn 3 it's probably too late. Depending on what your opponent does and what, how you deploy them and stuff. The Celestial Prime has got more chance of helping because he can guarantee that 12-inch charge. Whereas the dragons, they've got that hero phase move, so they can go into something earlier if they need to. And normally, like, you move 12 inches and you're going to charge into a screen? Why? Or, I don't know.
I think if you're going to use Prime, most of the time it probably comes down in turn 3 because your KO army is obviously killing all the screens in the first few turns, and then you just need that big smash to get that objective. Start scoring primary.
Yeah,
and it makes him obviously more reliable on turn 3.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, if somebody gives you some juicy
an opening,
if there's an opening, sometimes you bring him down turn 1.
But he is good. He's good just to be there. To be, even if you don't bring him down, he's in the back of people's minds. So he might be worth it just for that alone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so if we convince you, take the Prime. I don't get the present we have.
If you can, 2 Ironclads is still.
Just need to play a proper army.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, is that frogs?
Is
that frogs? You're playing spiders.
Spider, little saddle thing there.
Oh no.
There you go.
Wow. Someone knows something we don't know.
That's
the meta plays.
When's their book coming?
Mortal wounds from poison. Yeah.
Okay.
MSU spiders coming next.
Guys, any other questions you want to ask Luke?
I have a few, but I'm sure he's not willing to answer. So,
What about spiders?
No, about AO's Worlds list. But...
Oh, okay.
What's the info? What's everyone taking?
Yeah, come on, you can tell us. No one watches this channel anyway.
Don't worry.
I'm sure your team's the same. Nobody knows what they're playing right now.
I think most people know by now.
running
least they know
around,
the faction.
not knowing what they want to do.
It's just a problem. Some people want to play things that maybe they should play something else.
People
You mean
want
like
to play
Kron
one
wants to
thing,
use KO?
but they should
Yeah.
play something else. That's where I'm at.
Well, basically, everyone needs to
We
play
win
2
for
armies,
everybody
so
that
we
goes
have
to
it.
Worlds.
So we have everyone. So we have all the options. Everyone needs to play 2 armies. That's the solution we came up with.
That'd
No,
be great
it's
if you
good.
had 2 armies and everyone could choose from one.
Oh, that would be
So you
catastrophic.
pair against 2 armies.
Like the
and
pairing would be, oh dear. It's already complicated with 8 players now.
I honestly think majority of the players are going to time themselves out at Worlds after
You
seeing.
think?
Yeah.
Why so?
It's just so many players are just so slow. When you put a chess clock into it, it's
They're
definitely
using chess clocks.
Yes, we have to use
Yeah.
chess clocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Play
because
a
there
little-
were
30-minute
slow games
games.
last year. I mean, we had Zines mirrors that after, and we have more than 3 hours, 3.5 even.
Yeah,
per round.
well, you get an hour and 45 each, so it's a different.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a big.
But it's just sometimes like nothing happens, nothing dies with certain armies. You know,
Mhm.
they have
Like
so many
Fire
models, and then they think every move you do, you think twice because it's like important game. You know, you don't want to lose.
Only
Obviously.
twice. That's
So
why
it's
it's
like-
like think about things about 5 times.
It's like, oh, should I do this? Should I just not? And then you lose 10 minutes by doing that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just get stuck on it's battle tactics where I'm always like, what do I actually want to do right now?
I mean, that's the only other problem with KO is your target priority has to be almost perfect, and if you get that wrong, that you lose the game. But from that point,
Oh yeah.
You pick the wrong target to shoot, it's game over.
And you need to basically plan out your battle tactics from turn 1 because you don't have any monsters so half the battle tactics are out. There's like 2 battle tactics that you just can't do straight up. And you're never going to get any bonus points for battle tactics because you don't have any monsters. So you pretty much have to go, okay, so turn 1, I'm going to be able to kill a battle line. Then I'm going to jump over there, have 2 units in deployment. Then I can take an objective. You got to think about, like, battle tactics are tough in KO.
Yeah.
Some are easy, and then the rest are tough. Like,
Some are easy,
Savage,
some are tough, some are not possible.
Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, White Dwarf.
Dragons solve
White Dwarf
everything.
update.
But you can't
battle
take
tactics.
dragons.
New strategies, more rend for everyone.
If you're going to teams event, they're not going to give the KO player the dragons. So.
Oh. How many navigators do you have?
if you're going to Worlds and you're taking KO and putting dragons in your list, then maybe rethink your army.
Maybe go to Worlds and just take 6 navigators. And you're just there to counter dragons.
Just the anti-dragon, like
Imagine getting all 6 rolls off. All 6 rolls
Your
off.
dragon, it has a half-inch move. Quarter-inch move.
I had that against there's a Maw Crusher artifact that reduces his move by 2. So I had him with 2 navigators on 3-inch move, and then he deducted himself 2-inch, so he wasn't a 1-inch move the entire game. I think there's an artifact for a mega boss that he gets better but loses 2-inch movement or something. It was 1-inch move. all the way.
You mentioned the Vexilla.
Yeah.
What do you do when they just kill your Vexilla turn 1?
How do they kill him? He's in reserve.
Yeah, but then you can't do his thing.
Yes, you can. It's end of movement phase, the same as the deep striking, and you choose the sequence.
Yeah, because your turn, your sequence.
Big brain game.
Yeah.
No, I copied this from a French guy, from the French team with the Vexilla, and I thought it really smart. The rest of the list is a bit different than his, but I like the Vexilla idea.
Yeah, I've seen the.
And it's 120 points. He's a totem. They get reroll charge wholly within 12. So there's some play now. free up save. He's a good hero. Yep.
I think we're just on a massive tangent now, completely
Yes,
digressing.
and
There are still people watching, but there's not about KO already. So I think we're nearing the 2 hour mark. So I think we're in the show here. But,
yes.
Thanks for joining us as always, Max. Luke, great to have you on.
Cheers,
thank
to
you
have
so much.
again another time. And thanks to everyone that watched. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like, please subscribe, and don't forget to go and check out Wargamer Online as well and watch some of their battle reports and stuff.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
See you later.
See ya.